The name Viking echoes through history, conjuring images of fearsome warriors, sleek longships, and daring raids. But beyond the clash of steel and the thrill of exploration, what was daily life truly like for these people who once dominated the seas and shaped the course of history? Join us as we journey back in time, to the heart of the Viking Age, to experience a day in the life of a Viking, from dawn till dusk. For the vast majority of Vikings, life was dictated by the turning of the seasons and the relentless demands of the land. Most were farmers, toiling from sunrise to sunset to coax sustenance from the often unforgiving soil. Imagine the back-breaking labor of ploughing fields with simple wooden ploughs, sowing seeds by hand, and harvesting crops like barley, oats, and rye with hand-forged scythes. These grains were the foundation of their diet, ground into flour for bread and porridge. Livestock was equally vital. Cows provided milk and meat, goats offered milk and cheese, and sheep furnished wool for clothing and hides for warmth and shelter. The care of these animals was a daily responsibility, from feeding and watering to shearing sheep and milking cows. Imagine the sights and sounds of a Viking farm, the bleating of sheep, the lowing of cattle, and the rhythmic clang of the blacksmith's hammer in the distance. The sea was both a source of sustenance and a highway to the world beyond. Fishing was a crucial part of the Viking diet, supplementing their agricultural produce. Skilled fishermen, intimately familiar with the moods of the sea, braved the often choppy waters in sturdy, clinker-built boats. They cast nets and lines, hoping to haul in cod, herring, salmon, and other fish to feed their families and communities. Imagine the spray of the waves, the creak of the boat, and the thrill of the catch. The longhouse was the heart of Viking life. These communal dwellings, often shared by extended families, were more than just homes. They were workshops, storage areas, and social hubs. Built from timber and often featuring a central hearth, the longhouse buzzed with activity. The clatter of tools, the rhythmic hum of spinning wheels, the laughter of children, the crackling of the fire, and the aroma of food cooking over the open flame filled the timber-framed halls. Women played a vital and multifaceted role in Viking society. They were responsible for managing the household, a complex undertaking that included cooking, preserving food, weaving cloth for clothing, and caring for children. They also often managed the family's finances and property. Imagine the skill and patience required to spin wool into yarn, the artistry involved in weaving intricate patterns into woolen cloth on a loom, or the effort required to prepare meals for a large family over an open fire. Women also held a degree of legal and economic independence, unlike women in many other societies of the time, and could own property, initiate divorce, and even run businesses. Vikings were highly skilled craftspeople. Blacksmiths, revered figures in the community, forged tools and weapons, axes, swords, knives, and plowshares, essential for both daily life and warfare. Carpenters built the longhouses and the sturdy longships that carried Vikings across the seas. Jewelers crafted intricate ornaments from gold, silver, and bronze, adorning both men and women. Trade was also a significant part of Viking life. They exchanged goods like furs, amber, and metalwork with neighboring communities and those they encountered on their voyages, establishing trade routes that stretched across Europe and beyond. As the long winter days drew to a close and the fire crackled in the hearth, Families gathered to share stories. Oral tradition was paramount in Viking culture. Sagas, epic tales of gods, heroes, and mythical creatures were passed down through generations, entertaining and educating. Imagine the flickering firelight illuminating the faces of the listeners as they were transported to a world of magic, adventure, and epic battles. These stories were not just entertainment, they were a way of preserving history, values, and cultural identity. Leisure time wasn't just for storytelling. Vikings enjoyed various games and recreational activities. Knattleika, a ball game played with sticks and a ball, was a popular and often rough pastime. Board games like Tafel, a strategy game similar to chess, provided mental stimulation and entertainment. Wrestling and swimming were also popular activities, fostering physical prowess and a sense of community. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings were not the unhygienic barbarians they are sometimes portrayed as. They valued cleanliness and personal grooming. Archaeological evidence suggests they regularly bathed, perhaps once a week, often in communal bathhouses. These bathhouses were not just places to get clean. They were also social gathering places. They used combs, razors, and other tools to maintain their hair and appearance. Viking clothing was practical and functional, made primarily from wool and linen, with animal skins used for warmth in colder climates. Men typically wore tunics, trousers, and cloaks, often fastened with brooches. Women wore long dresses, often with an apron or overdress. Jewelry, such as brooches, necklaces, arm rings, and pendants, was popular among both men and women, serving as both adornment and a symbol of status and wealth. The Vikings had a rich and complex mythology centered around a pantheon of gods and goddesses. Odin, the Allfather, Thor, the god of thunder, Freyja, the goddess of love and beauty, and Loki, the trickster god, were just a few of the figures that populated their beliefs. They believed in an afterlife and had various rituals and practices related to death and burial. Some were buried with their possessions, while others were cremated. Ship burials, where the deceased was placed in a longship with grave goods and set adrift, were a particularly elaborate form of burial. The Vikings were not just farmers and craftspeople, they were also explorers, traders, and warriors. Driven by a thirst for adventure, wealth, and sometimes conquest, they sailed across vast oceans in their longships, reaching distant lands, from the British Isles to Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. They established trade routes, founded settlements, and left their mark on history. As the sun sets on our Viking day, we gain a deeper appreciation for the multifaceted nature of this fascinating culture. They were farmers, fishermen, craftspeople, traders, explorers, and warriors. They were storytellers, poets, and artists. They were the Vikings, and their legacy, though sometimes shrouded in myth and legend, continues to resonate today, reminding us of their resilience, ingenuity, and enduring spirit.